Hey everybody, this is Sean. It's March 30th, 2024. It's the day before Easter. I'm thinking about a lot of things, and my friend has been talking about artifacts and imprinting, and anyway, it's been evoking a lot of things that I forgot, and I'm remembering what I forgot. And I wanted to share this book that I made in 2009, and I made it for a school project, but it was also very important personally, and I want to share it with everybody today. I feel it's very relevant to share this. And so I'll read through the book, and then in the middle, I'll stop and I'll read my artist statement and give a little more information on the process of how and why I made the book. And then I'll read the book one more time with a little bit of more explanation. So thanks for joining me. Old things. Old things are not dead. They are just old. Besides that, things are only things. They are not people. After life left her body, I think it went into her old things. Why else would everyone bicker about a ring or some jewelry? If part of her wasn't inside these old things. Lucy wanted her teacups. They were special. The teacups got mailed after the funeral. They arrived broken, smashed, but still not dead. This clutter and collection, there are no more answers. Okay, it's hard to get this upside down. But things can talk too, right? If a picture tells, then I ought to have a novel here. The week before she died, I read a poem in school called The Woods in New Jersey. I thought about the woods by her house in New Jersey. I thought about December, the last time I saw her. She drove on the ice. I got angry and yelled at her. Old things are not dead. They are just old. So that's my book. It's My artist statement reads like this. Old things. I found some old negatives at a thrift store and bought them for 69 cents a pound. Not my memories, not my moments. What right do I have to these negatives? What right do I have to things in general? A purchase gives me a right to things, old or new. But is there something deeper, a more complicated exchange, taking place in the transfer of other people's old things? People live and die, rise into matriarchs and patriarchs, and then rot into the earth. Things often outlive their owners and carry with them hidden histories. In preparing this book, I confronted my own emotional past while simultaneously using my imagination in an attempt to understand the story buried in someone else's negatives. Of course, I don't expect to ever know the truth behind the found negatives. That's okay. In an attempt to give new life to old things, I have instead given these negatives my truth, my story. That's Sean Filson, March 17th, 2009. 2009. I did this book following the death of my grandma, Florence Elizabeth Roth, who was born in the early 30s in Germantown, Philadelphia. And it's a true story that I found the negatives that were a clutter of what looked like somebody taking a picture after somebody died and trying to do an inventory. Maybe it was an inventory for insurance purposes. It's hard to say. But it definitely was sort of strange finding these negatives and right around the same time that my grandma passed and looking at things that people were sort of fighting over in a way to hold on to memory from her. And the teacups was the thing that got mailed to me, that my mom, Lucy, wanted the teacups. And she was away from the country, and so she had them mailed to me, and they arrived broken, and it became this whole thing that was a continuation of the sort of bickering that had been going on after the funeral, where people were fighting over things, but they weren't fighting over things. They were fighting over memories, which oddly may be some sort of thing that we don't understand yet, but it was the unresolved memories that were tied up into the emotional component. The emotional components were put into the physical things, and they became symbols or artifacts that people were trying to transmute their emotions through these things. I remember my cousin wanted the clock, and he's even younger than me, but the clock from grandma's house, because it reminded him of falling asleep on the couch, and it had like a heartbeat sound. That's how he described it, and so I thought that was really touching. And the way I made some of these is I mixed in the pictures with the found negatives with a few of the pictures that I've made myself. I need to add some old pictures in, and then I took a couple new pictures. And the cover, and I'll read through this book one more time. The cover is a picture of the teacup, the broken teacup, double exposed with a spider web. And I thought that was really cool. And all of the pictures I soaked in tea because of the teacups. And so after everything was printed, I soaked the pictures in trays for 24 hours with tea to give them a tint, a natural tint. It's like toning, is what you would call that. So, old things. Old things are not dead. They are just old. Besides that, they are only things. They are not people. It's an empty rocking chair. When life left her body, I think it went into her old things. Why else would everyone bicker about a ring or some jewelry? If part of her wasn't inside these old things. So I chose to write all of this in cursive on the training paper. And the thought behind that was that I'm learning how to process grief. This was in 2008 when my grandma died. And it was a new experience, somebody that I was sort of close to for the first time dying. And it really is a learning process. And so, like cursive, it's hard at first, but, I was practicing there. Lucy wanted her teacups. They were special. And that's my mom when she was in, I think it's like 8th grade or 9th grade. The teacups got mailed after the funeral. They arrived broken, smashed, but still not dead. This clutter and collection, there are no more answers. But things can talk too, right? If a picture tells, then I ought to have a novel here. There's Grandma. She was quite a lady when she was in her 20s. The week before she died, I read a poem in school called The Woods in New Jersey. And that's a poem called The Woods in New Jersey, Jurisprudence, or The Woods in New Jersey by Robert Haas, which appears to be a eulogy for Justice William J. Brennan Jr. And so if you read through that poem, you can look it up. It's called Jurisprudence or The Woods in New Jersey. It's a good poem. I thought about the woods in New Jersey by her house. I muddled that one up, but let me try one more time. I thought about the woods by her house in New Jersey. I thought about December, the last time I saw her. And that's the house on Oregon Ave where they first moved when they moved out of inner Philly. They got this house in New Jersey. I thought about, she drove on the ice. I got angry and yelled at her. And that's a picture of my cousin, who I've sort of made to be me, looking forlorn in the field. I took that also the last time I was out there. Old things are not dead. They are just old. This is a picture from the gates in front of Beverly Cemetery in Beverly, New Jersey. And that's my book. Old Things. I hope you can find some piece in there or some breadcrumbs or a puzzle piece, something to help put your own grief in a different perspective when you look at things and you look at the world around us. Old things are not dead. They are just old. Thanks.